Good morning, everyone. My name is Farhan Iqbal Siddiq, and my ID number is AIT2509156. I am leading my team for my Probability and Statistics A group assignment, which consists of six members, including myself, Lee, Yusuf, Dhanush, Banu, and Noura. Our topic is analyzing the impact of oil prices on the market index. Today, we will explore how crude oil price fluctuations relate to movements in the DJIA, Nasdaq, and S&P 500. Let me outline our contributions. I'll present the introduction and descriptive statistics for oil prices. Yusuf will cover market indices and oil price trends. Dhanush will present index trends and difference analysis. Noura will handle histograms and correlation analysis. Bhanu will cover the heat map and key findings, and Lee will wrap up with conclusion and closing remarks. Oil prices are a critical driver of global economic activity. When crude oil prices fluctuate, they impact production costs, investor sentiment, and equity market performance. Our research question is, do changes in WTI and Brent oil prices correlate with movements in the DJIA, Nasdaq, and S&P 500? We source data from Macrotrends, covering 81 trading days from January 5 to April 30, 2026, analyzing WTI, Brent, and three major US indices. Now let's examine oil prices. The mean for WTI was $79.24, while Brent averaged $90.04. Brent traded at a premium. Standard deviations are substantial: 17.86 for WTI and 23.03 for Brent, indicating significant volatility. WTI ranged from $56 to $115, while Brent ranged from $61 to $138. In both cases, mean exceeds median, indicating a right skewed distribution with high price spikes. I'll now hand over to Yusuf.
I am Yusuf Ashalafi, and I will explain now the market indices. First of all, if we see this table, we will focus that DGIA averaged 48,454 points. And when we see NASDAQY, the average is 23,055. And also when we see S&P 500, the average is 6,857. They also moved a lot, because if we see DGIA's standard division was 1,299. And if we see NASDAQY's was 898. And if we see S&P 500's, we will see that there was 184. So DGAI moved over 5,000 points in the range, and NASDAQY moved over 400, and S&P 500 moved about 865. So in this chart shows oil prices from January to April 2026. If we see, both WTI and Brent went up. Brent stayed $6 to $80 higher than WTI. There was a big jump in March and April, likely from world political tension. If we see, WTI and Brent moved almost the same way. And now, the market indices in the same period, all three dropped in March, then went up in April. So most important, when oil went up in March, the indices went down. This is an inverse pattern.
Thank you, Yusuf. My name is Elidan Srinath and my ID is L82509126. To understand day-to-day movements, we calculated daily first differences. The mean difference for WTI was $0.60 and Brent was $0.78. Confirming an upward trend, standard deviation was largely $4.24 for WTI and $5.02 for Brent, indicating frequent daily swings. The maximum drop was $18.41 for WTI, which is the largest gain exceeded $11. Medians are near zero, suggesting daily moves were mixed, but the overall direction was positive. In slide 9, now for market indicates, all three show positive mean differences, which is 15.87 for DJIA and 20.71 for NASDIQ and 4.38 for S&P 500. Deviations are enormous. DJ's daily difference had a standard deviation of 449 points. The maximum gain was 1,325 points, while the drop was minus 870 points, which confirms the The January to April 2026 period was exceptionally turbulent. In slide 10, these histograms visualize daily differences for WTI and Brent. The distributions are roughly bell-shaped with some skewness. Most daily changes cluster near zero to slightly positive, but tails extend to both extremes. Negative tail to about -$18 and positive to about $11. This reinforces that this was a period of significant, unpredictable daily swings. I'll now hand over to Nora. Thank you.
I'm Zaid Noura Khalid Mohammed, and my ID is AIT 2509162. These histograms show daily changes for the three indices. Like oil, the shapes look like a bill with long shelf. DGIA has the widest range, about -870 to +1325 points. NASD, AQ, and S&P 500 have similar ranges, but still a lot of change. The shapes are balanced. This is why we can use Pearson correlation. Now, the most important part, correlation. WTI and Brent have R equal 0.9839. This is very strong and positive. When WTI goes up, Brent almost always goes up too. Why? They are the same product, crude oil. Global trading keeps their prices close. Both react at the same time to world events and OPEC decisions. Next, the market indices NASD, AQ, and S&P 500 have R equal 0.9661, almost the same movement. DGIA and S&P 500 have R equal 0.9658. DGIA and NASDAQ have R equal 0.7383. All three move together because they share the same economy. DGIA and NASDAQ differ slightly because they include different companies. Now oil versus the markets, all correlations are negative. WTI DGIA is -0.6617. Brent DGIA is -0.6438. NASD AQ is weakest, about 0.19. Science teach depends less on oil. S&P 500 is around -0.13. This shows when oil goes up, US stocks tend to go down.
Thank you, Nura. I am Banu Maharaj, AIT 2509151. The heat map summarizes all correlationship at the glance. Deep red and blue highlights the strongest relationship. WTI and Brent shows near perfect correlation in dark red. Negative correlation between oil and index appears in blue. Darkest blue represent DGIA and WTI at -0.66 among indices. Nasdaq and S&P 500 shows the strongest positive correlation in dark red at 0.97. WTI and Brent are the near perfect proxies with R is equals to 0.9839. Global arbitrage ensures they track each other closely. Brent commands a premium due to the lighter quality. Analysts can use either benchmark or interchangeable. Oil prices negatively impact equities, particularly DGIA at R is similar to 0.66. Higher oil increase production cost, reduce consumer spending and may trigger rate hikes. DGIA is most sensitive due to energy industrial. Nasdaq is least affected as tech is less oil dependent. All three US indices are highly correlated from 0.74 to 0.94. Nasdaq and S&P 500 moves almost identical at R is equals to 0.9661. DJIA and S&P 500 at R is equals to 0.865N. The weakest is DJIA and Nasdaq at R is equals to 0.7383, reflecting different sector compositions. The implication diversification within US indices provides limited risk reduction. True diversification requires looking beyond US equities. I will now pass to Lee.
Thank you, Banu. I'm Lee Jiazhen, ID 2402111. Let me summarize our 4 key takeaways. First, WTI and Brent are near perfect proxies with R equals to 0.9839. Second, oil prices negatively impact equities, particularly DJAR at negative 0.66. Third, US indices are strongly co-integrated to NASDAQ and S&P 500 have R equals to 0.97. So diversifying within US indices offers limited risk reduction. The fourth is the volatility is significant. Due to large standard deviations confirmed this period was exceptionally turbulent. So based on these findings, for investors, consider hedging during rising oil periods, such as holding energy stocks or using commodity-based instruments. For policymakers, monitor energy prices as an early warning indicator for market stress. Central banks should not inflationary pressure from oil spikes. So for researcher, future work could extend to other asset classes or longer time horizon. So the next slide. I acknowledge our references. We drew from Crayolas and Elementary Statistics and Montgomery Applied Statistics. We reference academic papers by Bashar and Sadorsky, Dijksprong and Homoder and Lee. Data was sourced from Macrotrends and Investopedia. All sources are properly cited. So we found that WTI and Brent move almost perfectly together. Oil prices negatively impact equities, especially BJAR, and as well as US indices are highly intercorrelated. We hope these provide valuable insights on behalf of our group, and thank you so much as we have come to the end of our video.